UFC Fight Night Sandhagen vs Nurmagomedov. Sat August 3rd, 12 p.m. PDT, Etihad Arena, Yas Island, Yas West, United Arab Emirates. I'm going with a 4-fight parlay for this one, guys. Our first matchup of the night is Tony Ferguson vs Michael Chiesa. My pick is Tony El Kukui Ferguson. I fully admit for this one, I am picking with the heart. But also, Tony is such a massive betting underdog at plus 425 at the time of making this. I just cannot help and see value here. Tony is on a wildly discussed 7-fight skid. But for me, when I go back and look at who the losers were too, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, Nate Diaz, Bobby Green, Paddy Pimblett, that is some top talent and a tough night for most. Frankly speaking, I do not view Michael Chiesa on the same level as any of those guys. Chiesa is on a 3-fight losing streak coming off an extremely one-sided lose to Kevin Holland a year ago. Looking back at his last 9 fights, he won only 4 of them, with only one of those 4 wins being noteworthy. That fight was against Rafael dos Anjos in 2020, and he was able to control RDA for 3 rounds to win a unanimous decision. That is the potential concern for this fight, that Chiesa is able to easily control Tony and run out the clock for a decision. But the juicy plus odds have got me fired up, and I am going with a 40-year-old Tony Ferguson. I see him landing the jab, defending takedowns, landing elbows in the clinch, possibly even locking up a signature D'Arce choke after a scramble situation. And if not, he will win by decision, landing more strikes and creating more damage. It's Tony time. Our second matchup is Marlon Vera vs Deiveson Figueiredo. My pick is Deiveson Figueiredo. When I first heard about this bout, I was expecting to see Figueiredo as the betting underdog. To my surprise, the younger and taller fighter Chito Vera ended up as the betting underdog, and that did pique my interest for a minute or two, as he is so durable and has shown the ability to find shots that will put his opponents away. However, I quickly snapped out of it. I see Figueiredo's pressure, output, and ability to take the fight to the ground overwhelming Chito, making it very difficult for him to open up and get into any kind of rhythm. While I see a decision win as a likely outcome, I would be shocked by a submission win or even a TKO of the historically durable Marlon Vera. For our third matchup, we have Nurmagomedov vs Michal Oleksiejczuk. I am picking Nurmagomedov. He is someone that has a ton of hype around him, and it appears rightly so. He's 13, 0, and in his fighting prime, having just turned 30 years old, has been very active, 9 victories over the past 3 years. Only 2 of those fights were in the UFC, but he has already become a crowd favourite. It seems the UFC brass is well aware of the potential they have on their hands. So if we were to be conspiratorial, that influence the matchmakers while they are doing their thing sitting in the war room, I won't go as far as saying Oleksiejczuk is there to be added to Shara's highlight reel, but I don't anticipate him looking to grapple. With 15 minutes on the feet for Shara to work, I really do think his Muay Thai will shine, and he will find openings. For the fourth and final leg of our parlay, we have the main event, Corey Sandhagen vs Umar Nurmagomedov. My pick is Corey Sandhagen. I view Corey as having a top 10 in the world skill set. He's going into this fight at 32 years old in his fighting prime, having both the height and reach advantage. He is riding a 3-fight win streak with tons of momentum, all signs pointing to his confidence being at an all-time high. I do not subscribe to the talking point that he was forced into this fight. To the contrary, I feel the facts point to him welcoming this matchup. I see all 3 of his losers in the UFC as excellent learning lessons where he did not take any type of heavy damage that can sometimes come from, say, a bad stoppage loss. Getting him at plus money make him an easy choice in a matchup that might ultimately decide who is the best 135-pound fighter in the world today.